All right, all right, all right. Welcome in. Toilets to Titles, episode number 94, NFL Week 10. I am the Island Boy here with my co-host, Justin Stevens, and his two friends over his shoulders at Justin FF underscore. We're here to bring you all of the latest fantasy football, NFL content to get you ready for the NFL Week 10 matchups for fantasy football. So, Justin, how are we doing this week, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. We're coming down to the end of the semester for the academy I work at, so pretty busy at work, but was able to take a little time aside to help get the show notes ready for today, and pretty excited. We have quite a bit to talk about today.
Yeah, man, we have a lot to talk about. We had last week, it seemed like everyone was very frustrated with the NFL and with fantasy football results. You know, I wouldn't, I really wasn't that bothered by the Cowboys loss because they were due and it's a good time to get an ass kicking out of the way. But I had the best fantasy football week I've had all season. I went like 6-2, and
Nice.
a lot of my wins came in leagues. Well, clearly I was what's that 75%. So leagues I needed wins. Excuse me, I got wins.
Nice.
So it was a very productive week for me. How about you? How was your fantasy football week?
Oh, overall, I think I did pretty well. I didn't do too hot in my main league, my main home league, but I did beat AJ, the Aussie guy, in two different leagues, so that was kind of nice. That's always fun. But both of them, one of them, I was like a huge heavy favorite going into it. No reason it should have even been close, and I barely won by like 2 or 3 points. And then another one, I had no reason being there, and he was a huge heavy favorite. I barely won that one by a couple points. So overall, yeah, good fun. But I do want to, before I forget, I want to take the opportunity to let everybody know, just a big reminder, it's November, Men's Health Awareness Month, No Shave November. So don't forget to have your checkups, and be aware, because cancer is a hell of a lot easier to fight when you catch it early. So I'm going to try to remember to say that every episode during November. So that's today.
All right, man. Put that in the show notes. That's as a simple reminder. Throw that in the show notes. I shaved a few weeks ago because for my Halloween costume I had to have the mustache. So after that I shaved, but that was October, 31st.
I'm
So
thinking every year towards the end of November, I do something funny and weird and different. This year, my kids are graduating a little early from the academy because of Thanksgiving. So they're actually graduating on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So I'm thinking I might go with the Wolverine look this year.
I was gonna say, why don't you dye it blonde like one of that guy over your right shoulder there?
Yeah, the Island Boy.
Yeah, the Island Boy, the Island Boy. Hey, but going back to fantasy football, not only did I crush it this week, it was my best week of the season. I also cashed out. I hit for $500 on DraftKings, and
Nice.
my lineup. I started. So everyone, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to get to the all that sort of stuff later, talking about our YouTube channel and everything. But do make sure you're subscribed because we have tons of shows. Dash of DFS, my lineup for the week. I had Elijah Moore playing on Thursday night, and I had Jonathan Taylor. My lineup was just loaded. Crushed it. Absolutely
You
crushed it. So
typically tell me when you're in line to make some big money. Are you tired of me sending you those Venmo requests every
yeah,
week?
that's it. That's it. Well, like I said, it just you know what? When I'm telling you, it's usually because I'm surprised. But now this week I wasn't really
Yeah,
surprised.
it's happening every week. Why
It,
not?
it was one of those weeks where it was just like the first when I hit for like 3,000, I was like, bro, this is incredible. But now I haven't hit for that much this season, but the money's rolling. But all right, I want to let everybody know you can follow me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps. You can follow Justin on the Twitter at JustinFF_. The show is at Toilets Titles. And Nate, who's not with us this evening, is at Nate_Dirt19. How you can listen to the show: Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify. We have two Facebook groups, Toilets Titles and When a Family Breaks. And if you can go to YouTube, search us out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. So every time we go live, which is very often in season, you're alerted. You can come in the chat. You can ask us your fantasy football questions for the week. We can answer it live on the air. We're going to be interacting with you. We appreciate that. It helps the show. And also, hopefully, you appreciate it because hopefully we can help you out. And if you have a podcast, throw us a 5-star review, throw us something cool in there because, again, we would greatly appreciate that. So we're trying to help you guys, and anything you could do in return is greatly appreciated. We appreciate you. We're doing this for you. Also, check out toiletstotitles.com. Weekly start sit articles, weekly recaps. I think we do some power rankings we started up. So we got tons of stuff going on there. And also, you can find all of our podcast content through toiletstotitles.com. There is a link to our YouTube channel, so you can find it that way. If you can't find it, just by searching Toilets to Titles on the YouTube. All right, let's get to some news. So, Justin, why don't you bring us through the news for this week? And shout out to Joe Arachi, one of the newest members of Toilets to Titles. He's our news guy now. He's also on Dash of DFS with me Thursday nights, but he's keeping us up to date on all the news. So let's run through it.
All right, yeah. So first off, we have OBJ is officially released. He's getting what he wanted, and the team I think is also getting what they wanted here. I think it was just that time. It was an experiment that didn't work out. He has listed his teams that he prefers in order. Even Packers are number one on that list, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously,
Yeah,
he wants to go to a contender. They need that solid play guy on the opposite side of Devontae Adams. Like I really love that spot. And John, I believe you were even mentioning that the last week since all this discussion started. And previously, when other wide receivers were having issues that were popping up, you kept saying, the Packers need that second guy. They might have a real shot at getting him this time.
man, I think it would be such a great fit. Everyone's dogging Odell Beckham because of his character, and I get that. But look at Antonio Brown. Like his character, I think he's got worse character than Odell Beckham Jr., but you pair him up with a phenomenal quarterback, dude's eating. Dude's doing well. He's banged up right now, but I think Odell Beckham, I think he's got issues, but I still think he's good. And if you see him on the waivers, if he's available, I'm picking him up because now Aaron Rodgers, if we didn't think he was going to be on a mission before,
Yeah.
now I feel like he's going to come out slinging. And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of telling that Odell Beckham, maybe this is a coincidence, but Aaron Rodgers is kind of under the media gun right now.
Yeah.
And Odell Beckham came out and said, I want to play with Aaron Rodgers. So now, again, this could be coincidence, or he could be like, I got your back, dude, or whatever, trying to, help be on his side when everybody's against him. But I think it'd be a great pairing.
And is it too obvious of a joke to just say that OBJ was built to be a number two?
Fair. That's very, very appropriate, but also inappropriate at the same time.
That's what we love at Toilets to Titles. Next up, we have Chase Edmonds. He has a high ankle sprain, and he's definitely going to miss multiple weeks. And obviously, the big talk now is Eno Benjamin going to be able to get the workload that Chase Edmonds was going to get, or at least something close to it, to make him fantasy relevant?
So, I mean, I'm putting in a waiver claim for Eno. He had decent production. I'm in one league where there's point per carry, and I've just picked up every single running back on waivers. And then I made a trade. I had Jalen Hurts. Rich, who's probably in the chat, I made a move for him. It's a Devy league. I sent Jalen Hurts for Chris Godwin. So I got Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb. It's my wide receiver core. I needed that third wide receiver. And running backs, I got guys like Elijah Mitchell, like just who I drafted out of Devy because I did like him coming out of Louisiana Lafayette. But just but I had Herbert for a while. Like I just got a bunch of guys who took over spots and get a lot of touches, and they're carrying me. My running back core is carrying me, and the only stud I have is Nick Chubb, and he's been banged up at points. I have the Ernest Johnson. He had that monster week. Boston Scott had a monster week for me. So that team, I'm putting in a waiver claim unless Rich hears this and he goes ahead and does it. But I might because I think, Benjamin, maybe he can get like Tony Pollard numbers,
Yeah, that's fair. Tony Pollard numbers. And then also you have to consider, with as much as running backs go down in this league in today's football, he's now only one injury away from being the guy, So obviously that just means they're going to go out and pick up the next Adrian Peterson off of waivers, and then he's going to come in and do something in week 1. But
And
that's
what
the
about
running back.
Devontae Freeman? Devontae Freeman, I think he's doing what everyone kind of expected Adrian Peterson to do for Tennessee. Freeman's had a few good weeks.
Yeah,
He's like, I thought he was going to be garbage. I thought it was Tyson Williams. Then they brought in Le'Veon Bell, but Devontae Freeman, I think he's the running back right now in Baltimore. And I know
yeah,
that's a little off topic, but staying in the division, the Browns running back corps tested positive for COVID, all of them except for Dearness Johnson. He's the last man standing. So another Dearness Johnson week, man. But now they're vaccinated. So
yeah.
I think like within 24 hours, if they get 2 negatives, they can play this week. So
Correct.
don't panic completely. Have a backup plan, but there is a chance Chubb can play.
Yeah, I mean, so with that many all at once, like you can't rule out the fact that it could be false negatives, or I mean false positives for COVID. So maybe like they just had a bad batch of tests or something. But at the same time, since they all are in the the running back room together and that many tested positive, it kind of leads you to believe that maybe there was something that went around. And if that's the case, Dearness Johnson isn't necessarily out of the woods either. Don't let Dearness Johnson be your backup plan, because he's going to get tested a few more times this week as well. If he gets tested between now and Sunday, he might be out as well. So they're going to be looking to bring in somebody. They have to bring in some kind of a warm body, I would imagine. Dearness Johnson can't do it all by himself in practice all week and then expected to be the guy in an offense that's built around having a 2-back system. Like that week that we had no Hunt and also no Chubb, it was Dearness Johnson and that Felton guy, and they both had a lot of work. So
Right.
they're
Johnson
going to run.
crushed it though. Johnson
Yeah,
had a
he did. He did. He was clearly the guy, but Felton still had a lot of opportunity, a few catches out of the backfield. Like they want to use a second back, so they're going to bring somebody in if it is just Johnson.
right.
So still have a backup plan for your backup plan if your backup plan is Dearness Johnson.
Right. Maybe that backup plan Zeno Benjamin.
There you go.
Maybe you got him. All right. And Josh Reynolds was cut by the Titans per his request. And any team that claims him will owe only 500K. So maybe the Falcons will come calling, because I think they, I know Tajay Sharp, he made it out there. He was once a Titan. Maybe Josh Reynolds is like, hey, I was a Titan. Tajay's working. Maybe I'll work for you too.
Yeah, there you go. I only threw that one on there because the 500,000 part made it interesting to me. Like he's not really a huge get, I wouldn't imagine, for most teams out there, but at the same time, there are some kind of wide receiver needy teams, some guys that could use a guy. I was kind of thinking maybe the Patriots could use a guy like Josh Reynolds. Like I know they already have 3 other guys just like Josh Reynolds, but you never know when one might step up. So this is the Patriots type of signing, really, because he only is going to cost them 500 grand for the rest of this year. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he gets an opportunity. I've always kind of liked the guy. I like his burstability, as I like to say.
Right. All right. His burst ability. You heard it there. Justin, on the burst ability chart, Josh Reynolds is one of his top guys there. He's one of the burst ability. All right. Patreon.com/toilets to titles. Support the show. Tier 1, $3 a month. It gets you into our group chat on Discord. We got a lot of fun conversation in there, fantasy football related, start sits, trades, everything. And it's not just the Patreon members that are in there. It's all the members of Toilets to Titles. We're all in leagues. We're constantly talking about different things from our league. So you get to hear us talk about it. You get to talk about it. We all get to help each other out. It's a great community. $3 a month. And then $5 a month is tier 2. It gets you into that chat, gets you into our Frankenstein League next year, and also gets you early access to the waiver wire episodes that Justin records every Monday night following the Monday Night Football. All right. And everybody from the Toilets Titles team is helping Justin. We're putting together a doc. We talk about players we want to pick up. So you get to hear all of that. Tier 3 is $10 a month, gets you all of that, gets you free entry into Frankenstein, and gets you one-on-one roster analysis from anybody at the Toilets to Titles team that you want. All right. Games of the week. So I said I'm the Island Boy. If you're new to the show, we're doing a little competition where basically every week we pick a game of the week. And whoever's game of the week has the biggest point differential is the loser. Whoever's is the closest point differential is the winner. Justin won this week, so he dubbed me the Island Boy, and I'm rolling with it. Last week's results, I picked Cowboy. Oh, no. I thought Nate updated this. I guess he didn't update this one. I don't know who I had, but I lost. I guess I didn't switch this over. Whatever I had Browns Bengals. I had Browns Bengals. I know I did. I don't know what the differential was, but it was big. Do you know the matchup you had last week?
I'm pulling it up right now, actually.
Okay, cool. I should have converted it
So
over.
yeah, it's all right. I thought it was updated as well, so we both dropped the ball on that one. It's all good. Um, so you had Browns Bengals, and we did not put the point different. Oh yeah, it was a 25-point differential there in that game. So that really helped drop you back just a little bit there. And then Nate had the Cardinals and Niners that dropped him back 14 more points. He was already kind of far behind there.
He's in a tailspin for sure.
Yeah, and then whenever you are in you remember when you're in like in high school and you all fill out the NCAA brackets, the college basketball brackets, and
Yeah.
there's always that one girl that ends up winning the whole tournament because she based her picks off of the colors.
Right.
Well, I've kind of been a little bit obsessed about the color purple lately, so I went with the Vikings and Ravens,
Okay.
and I won. There was only 3-point differential, so not only did I win, but I caught up a bunch of points and actually took over the lead after starting like 0-5 in this damn thing. Like I was way
Yes.
behind you guys.
Yes. You were the scat man. You were the three-eyed raven. So now the season total, Nate's trailing. He's in last place with 105 points. I'm in second place with 84. You're in first place with 73. So I got to catch up to you. Week 10, my matchup of the week. I got Chiefs at Raiders. Sunday Night Football. I think this is going to be a dogfight. The Chiefs lucked out not facing Rodgers last week, and it was still close. It was still a close matchup. Their offense doesn't look very good. Mahomes looks off. He's just not hitting Tyreek Hill in stride on any of those bombs. Kelsey looks okay. The running backs are okay. I think the Raiders are tough. The Raiders are playing very well. They have a solid squad, and I think they're going to bring it to the Chiefs this week. What is your matchup of the week?
So I have the Browns and the Patriots. So both teams kind of, in my mind, they're both kind of similar. They both kind of remind me of each other. The Patriots are 5-4 right now, second place in their division. The Browns are 5-4, technically third place by the fact that the Steelers have had their bye week, so they have one less loss. Both teams have the potential to maybe fight for a division win, but most likely won't. Both teams are pretty inconsistent as well. Their defenses are very similar. They both have young quarterbacks. One of them is good, and one of them is thought to be good. So I don't know. It just seems like a very interesting matchup to me on paper. I think this could be a battle. I think they could duke it out. So I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. And I never say that about the Patriots.
Man, and the Browns, Bill Belichick was their coach at one point. And
Yeah.
So there's some history. There's some
And
history
now
between
and
these
now
two.
without OBJ, I'm very interested to see if they can do what they did on offense 2 weeks in a row.
Right. Well, they didn't have them last week.
That's what I'm saying.
You
So this is
know,
2 weeks in a row.
Right. So I mean, let's. I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but we'll see when I talk about my dudes and duds for the week. All right, Nate. Seahawks at Packers. Homer. This is Rogers is saying he might not play. He could be cleared Saturday, so one day before the game, but we will see. I mean, Seahawks were one of the teams where OBJ was coming up. They were looking into claiming him. They didn't. The Chiefs were another team. So we'll see. OBJ might be playing for one of these two teams on Sunday at 4:25. All right, Nate's locks for the week. Last week he did so. He was 1-3. He thought the Bills were going to crush the Jaguars like everybody else. That was a miss. Let's just say this: Nate's been hot. I think last week was a down week for everybody. The Chargers, he was a hit though. He had -1.5 at the Eagles. They won 27-24. So this week 10, he's got Colts -10.5 versus the Jaguars. So Bills -14.5 at the Jaguars didn't work, but this week he said, I'm sticking with it. Colts -10.5 versus the Jags. He's got Bills -13.5 at the Jets. So he's sticking with the Bills. Tampa Bay -9.5 at Washington, and then Packers -3.5 versus the Cardinals. Watch Dollars to Deuces every Wednesday night, I believe at 9:30 on the YouTube channel. Again, if you hit the bell, you'll be alerted. Nate and Rich, they talk you through all their bets. So it's not just, point spread, it's over under. player props, game props, survivor pool, all that. So this is a little taste of that. But Nate and Rich will bring you through all the rest of that. So dudes and duds for the week. You can find this article every week, toiletsandtitles.com. Goes right on there. So you don't have to remember all this. You can actually go read it if you want. Heck, you can go to toiletsandtitles.com right now. Pull it up while you're listening to this, and you can actually read it while I'm talking you through it. You know what I mean? It's like a double whammy if you want to make sure it's going to stick in your brain. So my dudes, I kind of feel like I'm cheating with my first two, but I have to go with them because they were just clear and evident. Quarterback, I got Tom Brady at the Washington football team. Tom Brady coming off of a week of rest against the worst passing defense in the NFL. So sign him up, start him up. Dak Prescott versus Atlanta. Dak and the Cowboys had their worst performance of the season in week 9, and I believe they'll be on a warpath in this one. Dan Quinn will be giving Kellen Moore some info to help him prepare a game plan this week against the Falcons since he coached them last year. Dak to the moon. Devin Singletary at the New York Jets. Zach Moss was diagnosed with a concussion in week 9, so Devin Singletary should be in the driver's seat this week. The New York Jets defense has been absolutely abysmal against the run. The Bills were embarrassed last week, and they'll be ready to run up the score in this one. Javonte Williams versus Philadelphia. Last week, Javonte Williams averaged 6.5 yards per carry on 17 carries, while Melvin Gordon averaged 3.1 on 21 carries. This game will likely be closer than Denver's last matchup, so I don't expect them to run 38 times, but I do expect Williams to receive more touches than Gordon because he's earned it. The Eagles are allowing 29 points per game to opposing running backs, so expect big things from Williams in this one. Next, A.J. Brown versus New Orleans. A.J. Brown is coming off a week where he had limited production. This week, the Titans should have a hard time running the football, and I expect them to lean heavily on the pass. Saints defense is allowing about 40 points per game to opposing wide receivers. This is a great setup for a bounce-back performance from A.J. Brown. Next, I like this one. Deontay Harris at Tennessee. Harris went 3 for 35 in week 8 and 6 for 52 in week 9. I believe he's gaining steam and is becoming one of Simeon's favorite targets. Titans defense has allowed the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers this season. Expect a breakout game from Harris. Finally, Noah Fant versus Philadelphia. Fant is likely to return from COVID list this week, and he gets to face an Eagles defense that has allowed the most points to opposing tight ends this season. So great startup. All right, finally, now let's move on to my duds. Jalen Hurts at Denver. After seeing what Denver did against Dak and the Cowboys last week, I have zero faith Jalen Hurts will be able to get it done this week. Next, Baker Mayfield at New England. I teased this earlier. The Patriots defense has given up the second least fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Mayfield had a solid performance against the Bengals last week, but this week I think he'll come back down to earth. Next, Antonio Gibson versus Tampa Bay. One of the biggest disappointments in fantasy this season has to be Antonio Gibson. His yards per carry has gone down from 4.7 in 2020 to 4.0 in 2021. He still has time to bounce back, but I don't think this is the week that happens, so you're sitting him. Next, James Robinson at Indianapolis. Robinson sat out last week's matchup with a heel injury, but is expected to return in Week 10 just in time for a division matchup with the Colts. The Jags will likely use a committee approach this week, and even if they don't, the Colts defense is one of the best in the league against the run. I'm just not comfortable with this one. DeAndre Hopkins versus Carolina. Stephon Gilmore has been a great addition to the Panthers' secondary and will likely shadow Hopkins this week. DeAndre sat out last week with a hamstring injury and is considered day-to-day. I think he'll play, but I don't think fantasy players should play him. All right. Next, Chiefs wide receivers at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chiefs offense has had an off season up to this point. I keep waiting for Mahomes to get back to his old self, but it just hasn't happened yet. The Raiders defense is playing great football, and I think that'll lead to Mahomes and the Chiefs offense continuing their struggles. And last but not least, Dallas Goedert at Denver. Goddard has played decently this season, but he hasn't taken the step I expected after the Eagles moved on from Zach Ertz. He'll head to Denver this week and face a Broncos defense that has played tight ends very well this season. So there's my dudes and duds. Check them out, toiletsandtitles.com. Justin, now on to our turtle heads.
Yeah, so I do have a turtle head for this week. I'm kind of excited about it with Rashad Bateman. So Rashad Bateman's the kind of guy that that some people were on most of the entire offseason, and I was turned on to him early on by Joshua from Fusion. So I am going to give him some perks here, but I will say I've still been kind of waiting on him in most leagues just because of the injury. You don't have the extra roster spot and that sort of thing. So In Dynasty, I was able to pick him up in a league for fairly cheap. I believe I gave 2 seconds for him, and this was before he came back from his injury. So in my mind, I thought that that was a great deal. His 3 games that he's been back, he's been targeted 6 times, and 8 times. So he is being targeted early and often. I can only see that going up from here. I do believe that he's the best overall wide receiver talent wise. If you talk every aspect of receiving, there's just as an all around wide receiver. He's definitely the most talented wide receiver on that roster, and he's going to be able to really prove that coming up here with some decent matchups against Miami and Chicago. I think that he is the type of guy that can exploit the Browns defense a bit too, and then of course the Steelers haven't been great against the pass either. So really, there's the next 5 weeks in a row decent favorable matchups for Bateman and that wide receiving core. So I see an opportunity for him to be kind of a bit of a small turtle head that's that's didn't mean to say it that way, but not I'm not saying like he's going to be huge or anything, but definitely by next season though he's going to be high on everybody's ranks by the time we start ranks next season for
So
redraft.
you're saying we should take the bait, man.
Yeah, man, take the bait, man.
All right, Turtleheads. All right, slow your roll or you're all in this week. I'm all in on Cordero Patterson. This dude is not getting the love he deserves. He's not. He is like, I can't believe how well he's playing and how far he's flying under the radar. He's that league I talked about earlier with the points per carry. This
Yeah.
dude is absolutely carrying me. There's also point per reception. Cordell Patterson is probably my best player. Like I
Yeah.
have Nick Chubb, I have CeeDee Lamb. What's that?
I said I bet, I guarantee it.
Dude, he was an early season waiver wire acquisition for most owners, or rather fantasy football players, and he's about as reliable as the sunrise. Like every week, you're getting 15 PPR points from him. You cannot beat that. I'm all in. Cordell
Yeah.
Patterson, fantasy football MVP 2021. I'm
And
saying it.
honestly, that league, that one of the leagues that I beat AJ in, the one that I really shouldn't even had anything to do with, is a vampire style league. It's actually a pirate league, but so yeah, I stole Cordell Patterson from him. So I mean, he's 4-4, so he didn't have like an outstanding, like a great team or anything like that, but he was definitely his best player left. So I stole Patterson from him. I'm right there with you.
What a flex play. Like if he's your flex, you're crushing it. You are absolutely crushing it if he's your flex. If you have to start him at wide receiver or running back, that's fine too. But if you're confident enough in your other guys that you could throw him in your flex, like that's the ideal flex.
Well, not to brag, but I'm undefeated in that one, so I don't know
Woo!
that he's
Hot
even gonna
dog.
he may not even find a spot in my starting lineup, to be honest with you. But
Hot dog.
it's good to have. We still have some bye weeks, and you never know with an injury, and also with his dual designation, I can start him.
Right, man. You're
Wherever.
in first place. Haven't lost a game. You're all alone on an island, boy. That's what you're doing up there. You're just
Trying to
crushing it.
make it. Just
That's
trying
it.
to make
Just trying to make it, man. That's it. You better protect those assets from the pirates, though.
it.
You know what I mean? If you're out there on an island, because some pirates might come and try to take
Yeah,
any of your starters.
those pirates out there want my booty. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Especially after hearing about your turtle heads. I recommend avoid. All right. You're all in or slow your roll this week?
I'm all in on Pat Fryermuth. I mean, why not? Like, this is 2 weeks in a row now that the dudes went up and snagged a ball that he probably, if he were most any other tight end in the league, probably wouldn't have came down with it, or at least um, more than the majority of the tight ends in the league. So, and he had 2 touchdowns this week. It was on Monday Night Football, so it was
Yeah.
prime time, so everybody got to see it. And at the beginning of the season, when they first drafted him, I started hearing all these Heath Miller comparisons, and I just kept thinking, man, in my mind, I thought that was kind of it could potentially be like lazy analysis, just because Ben Roethlisberger's still there, and he had a lot of success with Heath Miller, and it's the Steelers, and but honestly, after watching him play this season, I'm really starting to get those vibes. I understand where that comparison's coming from. So it's one of those rare times where the comp to the team of the same, or a player of the same team, actually kind of makes sense and works out. And and I think Ben's starting to fall in love with him. He's not taking on that traditional wait 3 or 4 years for the tight end to mold like so many tight ends have done, and by next year, I think he could be one of the top tier tight ends. Not well, I can't say top tier, obviously after the main three. So a second tier tight end in redraft leagues. So and definitely maybe even a top tier in dynasty since he's only going to be a second year guy. So yeah, I'm really all in on Pat Fryermuth. Nate went with Javante Williams. He says Javante needs the damn ball. He says Gordon has looked decent, but it's clear that Jay Will is the better back. He was an RB1 coming out this year, and
It
I'm
was
not.
Nate's RB1, he's
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, gotcha. Nate says that it's his RB1. I see. Um, he's not sure how things will shake out going forward, but he's all in on Javonte Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
Nate completely. I agree with you as well with the Heath Miller. They both with Fryermuth and Miller. Heath Miller had the Heath chant every time he caught the ball,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
Fryermuth has the Muth chant every time he catches
Yeah.
the ball. So they even got that. So I like that, but I like Javonte Williams is man. Just I mean, here's the thing though. Like they had 37 carries last week, so he still got a running back one workload. I think what I say he had like 17 or 18 carries last. So he had a lot.
Yeah.
I do think Gordon out touched him, but he outproduced Gordon. But
Right.
even if Gordon's still getting the ball, as long as Javante's getting 17 to 22 touches a game, if they're going to be a run heavy offense,
Right.
that's fine. But if they decide to pass a little bit more and maybe only give out 25, 30 touches, Javante Williams needs to be getting, the bulk of them because he
Right.
he has more juice than Melvin Gordon. He 100% has more juice than Melvin Gordon. All right.
I
At this
agree.
team next week, we'll be us at this team. At this time next week, we will be saying, Justin, what do you believe we'll be saying next time or this time next week?
So I'm going to say that the Browns are like an actual legit playoff contender. The Cleveland Browns, and again, I heard your duds up there. I heard what you had to say about Baker Mayfield. I'm not disagreeing with Baker Mayfield, but I think the rest of the team around him is potentially good enough to actually be legit playoff contenders. I'm not saying Super Bowl contenders. I'm saying that there's three wild card spots now out there up for grabs for a playoff spot, and the Browns, that running game for one is so dynamic that alone should keep them in there. The defense at times looks solid, and now if they can get a little bit better wide receiver play out of other wide receivers that have better chemistry with Mayfield, then who knows? Maybe they could actually contend. And I base this also off of their schedule for this week against the Patriots, and like I said, I chose that as my game of the week partly because I wanted to see this play out the way that I hope it's going to play out. Win or lose, I really feel like both of these teams are going to show that they belong in the talks for playoff contenders.
Man, imagine a Browns Titans AFC championship game. That would be like 100% throwback. Like give me a low scoring game like 20 to 17, 20 to 13. Like that
Yeah,
would be an absolute slugfest. Sign me up.
yeah, because Derrick Henry will be back by then
Right.
too. So
Nick Chubb. And speaking of Nick Chubb, Shep Stradamus is feeling good because he predicted that one of either Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb will win the rushing title this year. And if you look at 2 and 3 right now behind Derrick Henry, it is Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb. And Derrick Henry ain't running no more, so they're going to pass him. So man,
and
if not
Chubb and,
only
and
go ahead.
Chubb potentially out another week too.
Right.
So that makes I hope obviously as a Colts fan I hope it's Jonathan Taylor. So I still hope you get it.
I hope they both finish 1 and 2 because that would be like all the way. All the way. I got them. I got not only I picked the first one, I picked the 1 and 2. All right. At this time next week, we will be saying, who the hell is the MVP? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, I get it. All the big contenders every week, it's like it's somebody different, and the
right,
last guy you thought it was isn't.
right. This is a very weird year. I guess it's Brady, like, I guess that's the guy right
Yeah,
now just because that's the easy answer. He's been pretty
yeah,
consistent, but,
I saw it so played out.
yeah, I know. And, like, I was expecting Kyler, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and they've all, Kyler's hurt. Josh Allen had a down week. Dak had a down week. Mahomes he's nowhere near that conversation. Aaron Rodgers, nowhere near that conversation right now. Maybe Stafford, but Stafford had a down week. It's very bizarre. Derrick Henry's hurt. So I don't know, man. Who's your guess right now?
I mean, I still think at the end of the week we gotta say Stafford is right up there. I mean, I know like he doesn't even have the best record in his own division, but he's playing better than Kyler Murray. Um, but I mean, what's wrong with Rodgers, man? Like I get he's not having a typical Rodgers season, but it's still a very consistent, solid season. I don't see anything wrong with keeping him up there at least in the
It's
talk.
good. Like, he's in the I mean, he, it's possible, but he needs to come back and tear it up because
What
he's
about
not.
Leonard Fournette?
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! He's
Dude's
an
tearing
island
it
boy.
up. Why not?
He's Get out of here.
They're
Um,
6-2 because of him, not
yeah,
because of
right.
Brady.
Yeah, right. Rodgers, I have him in some of my fantasy leagues, and I've started him. And even in fantasy, he's not even in fantasy football MVP like consideration because he's just his performances are good to average right now.
Is good
You
enough.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, just good enough.
Yep.
So Aaron Jones is kind of tapping into some of that Rodgers production, and he needs some weapons. Go get him, Odell Beckham Jr. And let's see, because I do think, I would love to see Devontae Adams, Odell Beckham, Aaron Jones with Aaron Rodgers. And I hate the Packers, and I hate them not because, for no reason, because I'm a Cowboys fan and they've broke my heart multiple times over the past, decade. So that's why, I envy the fact that they've gone from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. So there's a little jealousy there. So it's not just hatred, it's just it broke my heart, man. The Des catch. Yeah.
I'm not
that Go
I,
ahead.
I know I keep jumping back to your topic here of the MVP, but I'm not opposed to a running back winning it either.
So you're
You know
saying
what I mean?
Jonathan
Like,
Taylor.
yeah, we have several. I don't know about Jonathan Taylor because the Colts aren't really winning like
Cordell
they
Patterson.
should. Yeah, well, they also aren't winning. I'm kind of thinking maybe like Najee Harris, maybe
No.
or Chubb. Like at least Chubb has a winning record. What's
I
wrong with
don't
Najee
know.
Harris?
Like MVP, it needs to be huge numbers. And like Derrick Henry was the one with the huge numbers. Everybody else just
Yeah, that's true.
they need to like you need to put on the game, and this guy's just
But does it
monster
still have
performance
to be
week after
huge
week.
numbers if nobody has the huge numbers?
So I
Like,
guess not, but for me to give you an answer, I'm going off of what I'm used to.
right,
This year, it's nothing like what we're used to, at least as of now. But there's tons of time left.
or
You
defensive
know,
player?
who would the defensive player be?
I
T.J.
don't know.
Watt?
You're the IDP guy.
I don't know. T.J. Watt, maybe Devin White, Micah Parsons. We'll see.
Michael Parsons, man, definitely defensive rookie of the year.
5 sacks. He's all over the damn place. He had a down week against the Patriots, and I was like, shit, he's hitting a wall. And since then, he's been hot. But all right, so Nate's at this time next week. He says we'll be saying the taunting flags still need to go. The refs need to stop trying to take over the game. Let them play. It's ridiculous. Oh, Joe Clark saying Lamar hands down. So maybe we passed over Lamar Jackson. But even he had a few down weeks.
Yeah,
And I want
like
to see the Ravens play like I don't know, a
I
real
feel
game.
like with Lamar, they win because of him, and then when they lose, it's usually also kind of because of him.
Right. Like
Like,
he's had a few iffy performances. We'll see. There's a lot of
definitely
football
still in the
left.
conversation though. But I also want to say about Nate's this time next week. I think next week we are also going to be saying that after 10 or after 11 weeks, I still don't feel like Nate really understands exactly how that
Yeah,
segment's supposed to
he
work.
doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. I don't think he gets it at all. But well, let's roll with it. But
Yeah, yeah,
listen,
it's
we
been
got a
pretty
thumbs
much.
up. We got a thumbs up on the episode discussing how Nate doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
probably Nate.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was watching that Bears game last night, and that dude got that sack, and he did like I don't know if you noticed, he did like a karate kick, and I was like, that was absolutely. He did like a spinning jump kick after he
No,
sacked the guy, and I
I
was
didn't
like,
see
that's this guy's the man. Like imagine playing a Monday Night Football
that.
as a rookie. I think he was on the practice squad, gets elevated, sacks the quarterback, does a jumping, spinning kick in the air. I was like, this is awesome. I was about to tweet about it. And all of a sudden I see a flag. Like, what the shit? You're throwing a flag because this guy did
Yeah,
a sweet jump spinning kick? And it was like, no, because the guy taunted. And then I watched the replay and that was just dumb. And
yeah.
then
So
and
is
then
that
did you
the
see
kid
the
that had
clip of
all the
the ref
tattoos on
bumping
his?
in?
Is
Yeah.
that
He's an
okay? So
island boy for sure.
I mi- so I missed the actual play and missed the replay. I do remember the flag. I remember the penalty, and I remember the guy kind of looking over like, "What are you talking about?" But as you know, Monday nights I do the waiver wire episode. I was cramming, and on Monday nights I don't really get to see much of the game as much as I would like anyway. And so just throwing that out there so y'all can go back and check out that waiver wire episode
Waiver
before
wire
your
episode.
waivers
Check it out.
run tonight. Most people's waivers run tonight or tomorrow morning. So get that episode in.
We got you covered, man. We got you covered. All right. This was a little bit of a quick episode. Nate wasn't here. I'm feeling good about it, though. There's a lot crammed in here. It's week 10, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have tons of content in season, starting with Toilets of Titles on Tuesday nights, which is this. Then Wednesday nights, we got Joe Knows recapping last week's action. After that, we have Dollars to Deuces, which is a gambling show. Thursday night, we have a dash of DFS. Saturday night, we got Down Under Dynasty. Sunday morning, we have a Cup of Joe where he's recapping Saturday night's college football matchups and he's talking about Sunday's matchups. And then we got the Blitz with Justin, Mike D, Alex, and they go live, I want to say about 10:30. And it's all your content. Everybody who's in the chat. Last week, I think they had about 50 people in there. So everybody that's in there, they ask all their start sit questions. The guys answer it live on air. Do we have a guest? As we're wrapping this up, do we have a creeper here? Mr. Andrew Campy, what are you doing here, my friend? Stop. What?
Nice, nice.
That's great. That is great. That's very good. Good work, Andrew Campy. If you're watching at home, this is why you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comes in here with the hot graphics. Me and Justin as the Island Boys, man. That's great
Yeah,
work.
that's
Thank you.
incredible, Andrew.
Thank
But
you.
now you're fired.
Hey, you're fired. You're fired. Cut him. Cut him from the show. All right, everybody. As I was saying, make sure you subscribe to the show. Hit the like button. Throw us some comments. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Good luck this week. Hopefully, this week is some better football than last week, because last week was a little funny. But you know what? I was happy with the results because, like I said, I went 6-2. Justin, you have anything to leave us with before we cut this out?
I was going to throw this down, but obviously it's not an Andrew we trust. No, I don't really have anything else to add. We talked about No Shave November. We talked about Week 10. We talked about the Island Boys. I think we got it all packed
Yeah.
in, and all in 43 minutes. So nice job.
All right, guys. We will talk to guys and gals. We will talk to you next week, but feel free to chat with us. Patreon.com/toilets titles. $3 a month is tier 1. Get you into our Discord chat. We want to see you in there. Get in the Discord chat so we can talk daily about all things fantasy football. All right. Catch you later on. Enjoy your week. Take care.